Oh, I did hit that one nicely. Guys, evidence-based material, looking at how to hit great drivers. It's the most important part of the game. It's the longest club, it's the lightest club, it's the fastest club, and driving it effectively will lower your scores quicker than any other part of your game. Now, before we get into the video and we talk about how to feel certain moves and how to get in this, what I like to call this driver zone, let's have a look at some great moves, some great swingers. We'll find out how to get, or where we should be, in and around impact. When we look at the averages of movement, the closer you get to these positions, people, the better you will hit the golf ball.
So guys, check this out. Really interesting stuff when you have a look at these pictures, right? Now, I'm going to take you through a couple of the best players in the world here. Now, have a look at the lines here, right? You've got head down to the right. You see the circles. You've got 4 to 6 inches of movement. Now, if I can sort of get in there and prove to you, this is where, you know, when you're looking at the averages of movement, this is where the great players are. You know, are you anywhere near these positions? Does it make sense when I say that the closer you get to these positions, the better you're going to hit it? If you look at those two lines I've drawn in front of that right leg, the trail leg, do you think they're going to get their knee and their leg into this position? And then I'm going to take you through a drill later on in the video to give you a sensation, just to sort of make a lot of people understand how to hit a driver. And it's a little different. It's a different animal, right? You need to move a little bit differently here and get ourselves, you know, closer to, you know, the proven positions. We really need a little bit more commonality out there when we're teaching golf. Now, when we're looking at technique, it doesn't mean we need to be super mechanical. I do hit the ball really solid myself. I don't mind saying that. And, you know, by looking at positions and moving your swing gradually, understanding it is the first part. And this is how you get on the path to playing, you know, the best golf that you've ever played. Let's have a look as we look at McIlroy and Jason Day with the shadow effect on the left side of the screen. All right, let's look at that again. Learning visually, learning really up to 50% visually. Look where they're getting that lead leg, right? Moving laterally, but the head's actually moving back in the opposite direction. Head slightly down to the right. Now you can get in there and have a look at that right leg position. And a lot of the time when we're getting in there, we're having a look at the shoulders and the shoulder planes of the swing. We can get an idea as to where these shoulders are. And they're just about every single time we're seeing them up over 30 degrees. And when you're looking at the advanced players, it doesn't mean that you need to get exactly into every position, but if you're further away from these positions, the worse you're going to hit it. There's like a clicking zone here. And when we're looking at that right hip and where that lead hip goes, and when you're looking at averages of movement and biomechanics, and, you know, I use TrackMan, and, you know, you've got the force plates and you've got the biomechanics, you've got all the business, it's all good. But to break it down simply with filming your swing is still, you know, if I had a wish out of all the things that I use, it's still video. And having a look at where you're swinging when you're playing nicely, something that we're showing on WorldClassGolf.com. Let's have a look at Adam Scott. What a remarkable action. Look at the head move down in the pivot. I've been speaking about 3 inches of movement average on the way down. What a wonderful golf swing it is. And watch this movement forwards, head down and moving to the right as he slots it into this position. Now, there's not as much shaft length. You're only looking around 0 to 3 degrees on average. You're not seeing players with a lot of shaft length. It's almost straight up at 90 degrees here. That's where you're seeing most of the players. A couple of degrees of shaft length because the ball's further left. But you're always going to be seeing some room, people, in between the shoulder and the wall. But looking at that lead leg moving up against the wall is really quite remarkable. Let's have a look at one of the best drivers of the ball, really of all time here, as we see, having a look at McIlroy moving down. This is how you can hang on to your angles, right? Hitting it with the bent right arm, using the ground as leverage, as we see really a very, very similar position here to Adam Scott. See how that leg is almost identical in the amount of lateral movement from this lead hip. And moving this lead hip forward and towards the target, and the head moves down and to the right. People, you know, obviously there's some extreme cases when we're looking at really super flexible people. And, you know, thank you to Michael Field for the use of your fantastic videos. Guys, I've got to show you that this swing here, before we move on to the video, as we have a look at the drill to sort of create this separation needed to hit these great shots. But really have a look at this incredible movement from Tommy Fleetwood And when you talk about flexibility and you talk about the modern day swing, heads move down. And watch this, people, as we see this huge lateral shift. But his left leg, or his lead leg, ending up exactly the same position as McIlroy and Adam Scott. That head moving down to the right. Now, have a look at this. You know, this is obviously going to put a lot of strain on people's backs, and there's not many people that can bend their body into these positions. But isn't that absolutely incredible as the head turns tilted on the side? My God, a yoga expert I've heard he is, and you would need to be swinging like that. People, let's now have a look at a fantastic drill and a way to move into the ball to create freedom and free will, getting power and finding this wonderful driver zone.
So very interesting looking at the averages of movement and getting ourselves in this driver zone. What a wonderful position it is when you can get your body close or in this position. It really is a fantastic feeling. Let's talk about how we can get in there with some drills and some exercises and perhaps a cause and effect for some of you golfers out there trying this. You may, at the start, push them out to the right slightly. Let's look at the drill, and we'll talk about, now this is also very important for advanced players, you know, not hitting their driver all that great. We'll talk about a couple of statistics, biomechanics, a few stats here where we can get ourselves into, you know, trusting something. You know, we want to be working with great information, and once you can trust it, you've got some patience. Here's the drill, here's the feel, right? We've got the hands on the outside of the leg. Now you've got your address position, now your stance is going to be wider, it promotes a longer flat spot at the bottom. I'm not going to get into all the finer details here, but we are looking at this move into impact. Now, when I get my hands on the outside of my thighs, what I'm doing is I'm just really getting this left thigh, or this left hand to move up the thigh and the right to move down. Now you can see at the same time, if I get a line over my head here, we'll just see that the head moves downwards slightly and to the right. Now this is dropping this right hip and it's lifting this lead hip. All right, and it actually looks pretty good. The couple of things, when it starts to look decent, you know, most things that look good, generally they are, right? So getting yourself in a position like this is not that great. We see the left hip's a bit lower now. Now block shots, it's a massive thing for so many players out there, blocking it and flipping it. And this move here of your hips, just have a look at this side here. When I come into impact, and you can see that I'm turning a little bit high with this right hip, you can see the belt buckle, right? Now you can see that it's quite low. Now there's an area here that it's 10 to 17 degrees up this lead hip. And this, people, is what helps us hang on to our angles rather than throwing the angles away because we're up too high. All right, so just by dropping a little bit down into that downswing, you're gonna lift up this lead hip, but your arm's gonna stay a little bit bent as well. So if I get up, if I stay very level and turn level, I have to throw my arms literally to get contact. Now you can see I'm turning this way, but I've lost all my angles and my right arm straight. Right, so to hit something really hard and hit it well, you want to have the arms slightly bent. And it's like a zone, right? It's like you get in, you've got your address position and you just lower down and you'll find this, it's like a clicking spot. Right? It's what creates the room. It's this right hip high that actually gets stuck. A lot of players come down with their arms way behind them, but they don't get stuck. You can see players come out in front and they still get stuck. It's what your hips do, right? It's creating that move on the way down, that right hip moving down, the head's going to move down, and you've got this lifting up, and this is what can give you the space.
World Class Golf Instruction has over 700 detailed videos for every golfer. Practice programs and evidence-based material is applied to helping you to become your own coach and play your best golf. Join us in the chat room and join the community of World Class Golf Instruction.
Getting that right side to lower, getting that freedom, getting that arm to be a little bit bent, and getting your hip planes in the right position. Practice this. Copy, imitate. We're imitating something to create something. We're stealing some of these positions from these very, very skilled players. And as I said, the closer we get, the better we hit. Guys, have a look at worldclassgolf.com. So many videos on that, helping lots of people improve their golf. And if you're after online lessons, my online lessons go for around 20-30 minutes, and teaching people from heaps of people in America, from all around the world. Check out CraigHansonGolf.com. I hope you liked the video and get stuck into it, and we'll see you next time.